actions speak louder than words. We've all heard that before. So words are great. They feel good, but they don't mean anything until it's put into action. So do not assume anything until you get to see them again in the action.
Welcome back to the Love Stories Podcast. I'm your host, Charlene Byars. I am thrilled to welcome my next guest to the show today. Max Tripp Kramer is a dating coach, author, and founder of Tripp Advice, where he helps men build confidence, lead with integrity, and create meaningful connections rooted in respect. With years of experience coaching thousands of men, Max brings a unique perspective to love, dating, and what it really means to show up as a high-quality man in today's world. Get ready for this powerful conversation about what it takes to find the one and how having a long list of expectations is holding you back from really attracting great men. You will be surprised. It's not what you think. It's really not what you think you want. Can't wait for you to hear this conversation. And remember, stick around for the tip of the week at the end of the show. Welcome to Love Stories, a relationship podcast for successful women, where we talk about love, dating, relationships, and how great love stories are made. I'm Charlene Byars, and I'm so excited to share all the things that you can apply to create a beautiful love story of your own. Cheers to great love. Well, hello, Max. Oh my goodness, you're here.
Happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here, man. Like, seriously, because I was just talking to you, obviously, before we started recording, that, we've been really trying to get you on for a while with our schedules and all the things. It hasn't happened until today. So this is awesome. No, seriously, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I always like talking about this stuff. I've been living and breathing it for over a decade and a half. So my pleasure.
And, and for the listeners right now, as you guys just heard, you heard Max's bio, he's a coach for men, which is fascinating because usually we talk a lot about, when it comes to relationships and dating, you hear a lot of, the perspective of women and, what women are going through. And usually women are really seeking sometimes that advice. But to have a perspective today, and this is going to be ladies, this is going to be amazing. To have a perspective today of truly, genuinely, what men are actually going through, because this is what I say, Max, and you can tell me this, your opinion on this one. I always feel with all my heart, I say this all the time, and also being a mother of 4 boys, that, the majority of the men out there are great men. And I think a lot of times that women are just not seeing it. And, so I really believe that with all my heart. I think there's too much noise sometimes. And I think there's a lot of expectations. And of course, there's expectations, on both sides. But let's start out here. What are some of the things that you are hearing when it comes to, the matters of the heart and what men are looking for, but what they also are, the challenges that they're going through?
Yeah, for men, most men are really looking for a relationship, I would say. Yeah, they're definitely looking for a relationship. The challenges they're having, to be honest, is with, it's a few things.
Okay.
Some things that they're doing wrong, and some things that society has changed in terms of how women seek relationships.
Okay.
So it's a problem on both ends. So for one, a lot of men, they don't put a lot of effort into how to present themselves the best, whether it be online or meeting women. So that's where they come to me for help.
Okay.
And then they're also not putting themselves out there enough, not swiping enough, not going out and meeting women because it's hard. And so they're not putting themselves out there. So they're not getting not giving themselves enough opportunities, and they're not making themselves as attractive as possible to capture the attention from the opportunities. That's simply put. That's on the men's side. Now, on the women's side, what's happened is women have a lot of choice in dating more today in 2025 than they did 2010 and and previous.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is because of social media and online dating. Women get a lot of attention online. A lot. Even an average woman is getting more attention than an average guy online, just because of the nature of how men and women get together and select each other. So what's happening is it's causing a shift in the way that women are thinking about how to choose men. So men have a problem with meeting enough women. Women have a problem with how they're choosing men. And this is why women are seeking out help. That's why men are seeking out help. So what happens is women have so much choice in dating, tons of, and I know I always get pushback on that because women say, no, I don't have. And what they're saying is, no, I don't have the kind of men I'm looking for. But
Correct.
Either way, they do have a lot of options, whether the options are good or bad. From online, also because women just get approached, men don't get approached.
Correct.
And then on social media, they put anything on there that's even remotely attractive, they'll get a lot of likes and DMs and comments and all that stuff. So women, just like anyone who has a lot of options,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be choosy, right? Of course, that's how it goes. I walk into the cereal aisle and I see 15 different cereals. I got a lot of options. I want to pick the best one. If I walk into a cereal aisle and I see 3 options or 2 options, I'll probably choose pretty fast because it is what it is. This is what I got. Now, the way that women are choosing is a problem because, like I said, one, they have so many options, so it's kind of hard to choose.
Right.
But also, it's making the list of what they're looking for very long. Okay, so it's very long. Every woman has a long list, and the older they get, the longer the list gets. So now the longer the list is, the harder it is to find that person because the pool gets smaller and smaller. Okay, following me so far?
Max, I'm so following you. I got to tell you something real quick before we even keep going. I have, like I just told you, I have 4 boys, and one of my sons, he's 32, and he's a fan of yours. He's the one that found you.
Cool.
And cool. And he's just like, Mom, let me tell you something. It's so, and I asked him, he said, this is what I'm experiencing. He said, I would consider myself, this is what he told me. Max, this is going to be really good for you. He said, I would consider myself a nice 7-8, right? I really believe that I'm a great guy and I have good intentions and all the things. And he goes, but the reality is, oh my goodness. He goes, Mom, men can't even they're having the hardest time dating these days because women are expecting 11s, period. So even an average woman, that is, he said, seriously, I'm not even kidding you, Mom. He's like, let's say, she's a solid 8 and no, but she's wanting an 11. And, and he goes, and it's really putting, such a disempowering space for us. He goes, I don't even know where to go from here. So keep going, Max. If that kind of relates to you, is that what you're hearing?
It perfectly relates. That's exactly what men are going through. So I'll bounce off of what your son said there.
Okay.
So then the problem becomes women's response to that is very defensive. Very defensive.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm saying this to help, not to attack.
No,
so
ladies,
maybe any women watching, open your mind a little bit. I'm not here to,
ladies,
I'm also giving you the reality.
And this is what I want to say too. And ladies, whoever's listening today, we actually remember we talk about this all the time. The reason why I created this podcast, because ultimately, so we can find great love. And, both men and women, it's important. So we are here to give a different perspective today because we don't really get to listen to what men go through and what is happening and really our expectations, because we put a lot of information out there about what we're expecting. And I thought that was amazing when you said they have these really long lists. And there's nothing wrong with truly, genuinely having, what you're looking for. But sometimes I don't even think, Max, that we as women too know what we're looking for.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Or I
Okay.
should even say more, what's important.
What's important? Oh, I love that. Okay.
Because there are things that are important, things that are not important. But for a lot of women, they think everything is important. And the reality is, if your list is whatever, many things long, 20, 30, 40 things long, and they're all important, you're just going to remain single.
It's unrealistic. It's just really unrealistic.
Now, a lot of women kind of claw back at that one and go, then I'll stay single. I believe that there is a world in which women can still win the dating game, but they're going to have to just change what's important, and they can still find a great guy.
Yes. Because they're out there, you ladies. I'm telling you, I really
They are
believe
out
that
there.
with all
I
my
talk to
heart.
them every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your son, for example, my cousin-in-law, my brother,
Yes.
these are all, I mean, objectively, not because I know them, but like I would, I also know some people, other cousin-in-laws or whoever. Just I get why they might be single, but there's some guys who are catches. Good job.
Yes.
Tall enough.
Tall enough.
Charismatic, funny, smart. All the things that you'd want. They're having a really hard time because they're getting passed over by guys who have even a higher status than them, right? Super tall guys, super rich guys, six pack, just very chiseled, good looking guys. Here's the reality, ladies. Guys are not stupid. The guys who are the 11s, status, all the things I said, they know that they can have any woman they want. So what are they doing? They're just having a fun time dating women and dating the next woman and going to the next woman. And a lot of women will get with these guys, but the guy treats them kind of bad or doesn't commit to them. I'm not sticking up for those guys. I'm just telling you the reality. They do that because they know they can and they have lots of options. But they're so attractive that women will flock to those guys, top cream of the crop. But then they will categorize all men like that. We're all the good men because these men are terrible. Men are no good. Well, you're only seeing a very select few type of men. Right. There's all these other guys, the brothers, the cousin-in-laws, the guys who might not be exactly 6 foot tall, who doesn't make $300,000 per year, who is, by the way, attractive, but maybe not everything is ripped about him. Guys like that, who, if you gave them a shot, and I wouldn't call that settling. I'm not telling you to date broke losers, No,
exactly.
I get that. That's my guys, they don't want to date unattractive women either. Like we all want better, or not better, what we're attracted to.
Exactly.
But there's a reality, right? There's a reality in what you can get and what's going to stick around. And that guy who maybe makes less than 150, who's not that super tall, who, again, still charismatic, confident dude, but doesn't have everything you want, would be a committed, amazing, loving, loyal husband. More loyal, more committed, more loving than the guy who's going to have all the choice in the world.
So, and you know what it is though, and really, that's really good. You're saying that because when it comes to, again, we're not saying that you're going to be with someone that you don't have, that attraction with. That's really important. We're talking about romantic relationships here, people. I get that, but the reality is that sometimes attraction is different than just the physical part, because when you're open to giving guys an opportunity, get to know some different men out there, you will be so surprised. And I know, Max, this is the work you're doing. You will be so surprised how actually sexy these men are, because they are genuinely really into you, and not in a needy way, like into you. They are into you. Then it's like almost, to me, a slow burn. And that when you have that just attraction and your list is just external, that shit gets old. I'm not even telling you. It really does. Because really in the ultimately, what is it that women are longing for? They really are longing for, and I think men too, Max, are longing for connection, connection, acceptance,
Yes.
fun,
Yes.
acceptance, like
Yeah.
nobody wants to have to put on this persona all the time. And you're 100% right. And not all the most gorgeous looking men are like that. But yeah, let me just say something. He's pretty spot on. Yeah. They know that they have so many options and they just go through women all the time. And really, is that what we want? No. No, we want a man that's really into us and we're really into him. So keep going, Max. That was really good.
No, yeah. I'll just add in there.
Okay.
You're going to be a lot happier with that guy than just being single, waiting for that guy to come around who's got the full list.
Yeah. I love that.
No one is happier alone.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be alone.
Yep. We're not meant to be on an
you
island
got to
by
find the right
ourselves.
person, right? Because you can be very unhappy with the wrong person, and it can ruin your life for men, for women. It can be very, very bad.
Yeah.
But of course, that's just how life is. Not everything is going to work out exactly how it's going to work out. So you do have to put in the work to find the right person. I'd say to women, luckily, not that it's a competition, but just to give you an idea, when it comes to work involved to meet somebody. And again, I'm saying this to make women feel better about their situation, not attack them. Men have it very difficult because if you break it down, there's a few steps in dating, right? There's one, you got to meet the women, get opportunities with women or men. And then you have to see if it's a match.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Men at default don't have as many opportunities. They have to create opportunities. So they got this big leg of work that they need to do to create the opportunities. They have to approach and they have to swipe a lot. Women don't have to approach men, and women can just put on a few cute pictures and they will get slammed with a lot of people. Now, of course, I get it. It's still a exercise in order to figure out of all the people who that is. But men don't even get that opportunity. They have to create that. So really, women just have to only focus on one thing and one thing only. Filtering. How do I filter? Because you got the guys coming to you. They're there.
Yeah, that's good.
You can go to the places. They're going to approach you. You can go online. They're going to be there. Or if you hate online, go and meet people in person. Either way, that work is kind of done for you. So now it's just a game of filtering. How do I find the right guy? But how do I do it realistically? Because obviously, if you have too short of a list, well, then you're settling. And I know no one wants to do that. Too long of a list, then you're trying to find a unicorn, which also does not exist.
Yeah.
So you need to find the right amount of list. The smaller, the better.
Okay.
Because then you can have a larger pool of guys to then sift through and see, well, who's going to be a good match for me.
Max, how do we let's talk about that a little bit. As women, because I know, like you said, you're dealing with men and you're really helping them learn how to date. You're really helping them, go through what they need to go through to obviously attract the type of woman that they want, for themselves. So us women, what are some things that you can tell us? How do we shift through men, knowing when do we really know? What do we look for when it comes to knowing the guys that are going to be the players or the guys that are genuinely looking for a real connection?
So I'll be honest, I don't coach women.
Mm-hmm.
So I have answers to this question, but they're not as thought out as if you were to ask me a similar question for men. So I'll do my best.
And then
I have
give
a
us
few ideas.
and flip it too. And then give us for the men too.
Yeah.
Because we have men listeners. Yep, absolutely.
So for women, so your question is how to spot a player?
Yeah. How do we kind of shift through, the men? Because you're dealing with men and you're teaching them, how to really approach women and what they need to do. So how do we look for those type of guys?
Yeah, well, if the guy, chances are if the guy is super wealthy, super good looking, kind of has all the boxes checked.
Yeah.
Strong chance he's a player. Strong chance.
Okay.
like you're so intimidated by this guy. Oh my God, he's got it all.
That's already like, there you go, ladies. Yeah. Okay.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't even have to say that because
Yeah.
I mean, any women can kind of go back and remember that they're with a player. What was that guy like?
What was he like? How did he
Right.
show up? Yeah. Or
Right.
how he didn't show up.
Yes. Now,
Yes.
also, I do believe it does help to withhold having sex with a guy
Okay.
and seeing how long it takes. Or I should say, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
There's an amount of time, I believe, that you can have between you having sex with a guy, it being a reasonable amount of time and a time to maybe test out if he's a player. You know, I would say anywhere from 5 to 7 dates probably to do that, maybe even a little bit more than that.
Yep.
Of course, maybe you guys do other things, but withholding to a reasonable degree will definitely filter out the people who are just interested in that.
That's good.
Also, how easy is it to meet up with this person?
Okay.
That's for men and women, but how easy is it to meet up with this person? Do their words and actions, are they congruent with each other? Mm-hmm. So that's another one. Meaning, if they say they're going to be somewhere, are they going to show up? Are they late? Do they text you back? Things like that, right? Very simple things.
I know. And sometimes we forget the really simple, like you would think they're obvious, but a lot of times, seriously, they're not obvious to people. They're really not obvious to people. They get themselves caught up, and I don't know where they go a lot of times, but they get themselves caught up in like, oh, maybe dating's different now, or maybe he's really busy. And I'm like, no.
No.
Yeah.
No one's too busy. Honestly, it's very, very simple with women, for women, that to spot if a guy is interested or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that book, he's just not that into you, is just everything. I mean, you don't even need to read the book. I mean, I can just tell you right now, if a guy likes you, he's available.
Yep.
If he's not that available, or he's playing games, he's either a player or he's not interested.
That's it. I know it sounds so simple.
It is simple.
But it's so, Max, tell them how true that really is. Like, you don't have to say, ladies, Max deals with men all the time. This is what he does. He coaches men. And he honestly is saying it from the bottom of his heart. Like, this is real. And I knew this too, that if a man is interested in you, you don't have to worry because he's going to show you.
Yeah, and even beyond my heart, just data. Like, I have these guys who like these women, and I have to hold them back from texting too much.
Okay.
To the point where it's like, these men who like you are going to be very available. They're going to show you that. Like, I know that because I have all these guys who do that already.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, it comes from a needy place, and you don't want that either.
Nope.
But I have to teach them how to reach out and respond and all appropriately. But it's never going to be playing games. Even the guy who I'm like, listen, we got to chill. You're texting too much, you're doing this too much. The woman's not going to be like, is he into me? She's going to know. It's pretty
clear. She'll know.
And same for guys. I tell the guys too. Yeah, but how do you tell if a girl likes you?
Yeah.
I have a way to know 100% certain every single time.
Oh, tell us.
It's dead simple. It's two things.
Okay.
One, so they look for the micro things. Did she text me back fast enough? And is she smiling at my jokes? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. None of that matters. Just do two things. One, is she showing up to the date? So if she's showing up to a date that you've set, she likes you. Now, there's one extra part to this, because sometimes it could be like a friend zone situation. Guys don't really know where they're at. They think it's a date or it's not a date. And so it's like they're asking these girls out, but they're not doing it properly. So, So does this girl like me? Well, because she could be showing up to hanging out, but it's just a friend zone thing. So you'll know simply if you guys are getting physical. So if a woman is showing up on a date and you guys are getting physical, she likes you. If none of those are true, just logic, If none of those are true, she's not interested.
She's not interested.
You don't have to look at anything else, ever. Keep it very simple. For women, it's just the first one. It just is he showing up. Are you guys spending time together? Not is he texting back. None of that matters. Is he showing up on dates?
Yeah. Is he like really wanting to see you and be with you? Get to know you, right? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's another element to that actually. Because you could be showing up on dates once a month, but that's right. So yeah, it depends. I don't know how often a woman who really likes a guy wants to see a guy, but if we had to,
no, seriously, a lot. When women are into guys, they're like, I want to see him all the time. You know what I mean? I want to see him all the time. I know that. I know when a woman is also very interested in a man, yes, she wants to see him. She wants to.
So if he's showing up at least a couple times per week and giving his attention to her and showing interest in her while they're together, then there you go.
That's fantastic.
Is he showing up and you guys are just hooking up and then he leaves? Obviously, he's probably just interested in that.
Right.
But is he like hanging out with you and not doing that stuff?
Yeah, but you already made a comment. You already said, if women really take their time a little bit and they don't rush into necessarily, like you said, sleeping with the guy, and they are truly, genuinely, ladies, this is really what it's about. This is the best part. Is the courtship. The courtship is really getting to know somebody, because over time, you really get to see their true intentions. That's real. That is absolutely real. And so, like what Max just said, so is he showing up? Is he keeping his word? Is he interested in you? Yep. That to me is like, okay, here we go. That's it. Here we go. Okay, let me ask you this. So let's say, Max, because I know that you hear what men are coming to you saying, oh my gosh, this and 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 this. Okay. So if a woman is really interested in a man and she's on a date with the guy, what are some things that we can shift in what we're doing that we're not even aware that it's just not necessarily working? And it's actually, the guys are like, why do we keep, give an example, like if we keep talking about our exes or we keep, doing those things. Can you talk a little bit about, things that maybe us women are not aware of that we're doing that is really giving the guy a sign that we're maybe not into him?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not asking enough questions.
Oh, good. Talk about that.
Yeah. On a date, guys get pretty nervous. I can imagine it's pretty easy for a guy to just kind of talk a lot. Mm-hmm. But, and ask what, not necessarily talk a lot, but be the one who's being proactive in conversation. But it's really attractive to men when a woman is inquiring about us and getting to know us and not just sitting there answering the questions that the guy asks.
Okay. I love that.
I'd say that'd be the biggest thing.
Yeah. What are some things that men are saying to you that women do that are really frustrating and they're not understanding why? Like, so like for an example, so if a man's going out with a woman and, he's not sure if she's interested in him, what are you noticing that women are doing that are not maybe necessarily interested in the guy?
Well, one thing is not saying thank you on dates. So that's a big one.
That's a big.
But so you're asking, I have it a little twisted. You're asking what are the things that men see on dates that are showing them
that she's not interested, that she's just wasting his time?
I mean, looking at her phone.
Okay.
Yeah, not saying thank you, looking at her phone, not engaging, not asking the questions like I said. But then again, I always tell none of that matters anyways, because you just don't know. She could be nervous.
She could be nervous.
So maybe she's doing all those things. I don't think it makes up for that. Some of those things are very rude to do. You don't want to do those things on a date. But, I always tell guys the same thing. Does she say yes to a second date? By the way, my theory, my principle.
Okay, what's your principle?
The principle that I stated earlier about having to tell if a woman likes you.
Yes.
I mean, that is legit. That's it. So what I mean is I've had guys who go on dates and, oh, the date was great. Tell me about it. Wow.
Yeah.
Great conversation. Totally connected. Kissed at the end. Oh, okay, cool. She told me she wants to see me. She's so excited to see me again. She hasn't felt a connection like this in a long time. Wow, that's great. Cool. When are you setting up the next date? I'm going to set it up in a day or two. I'm going to text them, set it up. They go to set it up. Ghosted. So you never know. It's a brutal world out there. It is.
What do you say to
Not
the guys?
I
have. What do you say? What do you say to your clients and the men that you're coaching? Because I have a thing, about ghosting. What do you say to them if they get ghosted? What's your advice to them?
If they get ghosted, well, they might ask, like, what do I do? I mean, you don't do anything. Don't text again.
Yep.
But how to feel about it, don't get too attached to someone you barely know.
I love it.
Because that's when it really stings. Don't believe her. I'm sorry, but this is the reality. Don't believe words and actions, right? Actions speak louder than words. We've all heard that before. So words are great. They feel good, but they don't mean anything until it's put into action. So do not assume anything until you get to see them again in the action, not the words. Don't get too caught up in who this person is until you've had at least 5 to 10 dates.
Yes. It takes time.
You just don't know who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on 2 or 3 dates and go, wow, this is amazing. Then 4th date, 5th date, you find out, this is not the person for me. Just how it goes. So try to not get too attached. So, okay, how do you do that, right? Because that's an interest. That's how do I just change how I feel? It's really just your mindset. It's remembering what dating is and going into things. Look at things as objectively as possible. Mm-hmm. And remember that it's just about being curious about who this person is and who they are, getting to know them. That's it. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to attach. You're not trying to
get married the first night.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to live.
Let's just look at it objectively. So if we can just go into it and remembering, okay, just getting to know this person, see how it goes. Oh, she kissed me. Oh, cool. Let's see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Max, Stoic is the best way.
The what?
Stoicism. It's a really good way. It helps you keep emotions out of places where you can make more rational decisions, because sometimes our emotions can get in the way of making the best decisions for ourselves.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Which is tough because we're just human and we have a lot of emotions and we trust our gut a lot, or intuition. There's nothing wrong with trusting your gut or intuition, but it's about acting upon those emotions. So, for example, a stoic way to look at dating would be exactly how I presented it. Curious, see how it goes.
Yep.
Oh, she ghosted me. Oh, 3rd date. I really like her. She doesn't like me anymore. That's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay to feel what you feel, but also remember that this was the 3rd date. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't meant to be a marriage.
Yep.
And that's all right. And there's other women.
Yes.
And there's lots of other people to date. And let's not, I think what happens here is men and women have a good date and they create a story in their head.
Yes,
so all I'm saying is let's close the book in our head and put it back on the shelf, not read any stories.
Yep.
Because that's what gets us really excited. Oh man, she's got a dog and I love dogs, and she grew up where I grew up, and well, oh man, that kiss was great. I'm so physically attracted to her. Mm-hmm. Man, oh, what if I see her again? My parents would love her, and I think my friends might like her too. And oh man, this is the most beautiful girl I've ever been with in a while. On the women's side, he's so charming. He's so sweet. He was paying attention to me. This was great. I don't think he's a player. He doesn't seem like that. You write these stories.
Yes.
That builds this emotional cauldron that's just bubbling. And then all of a sudden you get ghosted, or they break up with you, or they don't want to see you again, or they text you and say, hey, it wasn't a match. And then you're just destroyed. You did that. The guy didn't do that. The girl didn't do that. You let that happen. Meaning you let that affect you. Now, again, I get it. You're human. You're not going to be perfectly, you're not stoned and you won't feel nothing, but at least you can minimize those feelings as you go through this process.
That's perfect. That's perfect, Max. No, that's perfect. That's exactly how it is. And when we talk about ladies, again, here we go. I'm not joking. There are actually, I think there are amazing women out there. There's amazing men out there. But this is the deal. We want this so fast. And really anything worth anything, it takes a little time. It really takes a little time, because when people show up in the beginning, of course, they're going to, they're going to show up their best selves. It's going to be like the ceiling is as good as it gets. And what happens is, as time goes by, you actually get to see exactly what Max just said. You get to see if their words are going to, match the actions. And as time goes by, you get to see, the different energy and how you're feeling with that person. And really, are you leaning in? Are you like, oof, the more I get to know this person, these conversations are getting better and better and better. Because yes, you're right. In the beginning, people can be nervous. People, can have, all these other factors, but take your time and date different people. You guys, we're not in a committed relationship. It's actually okay to get to know different people at the same time.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you this, Max. How did you get into this? Like, tell me a little bit about you. How did you grow up? Because, you really understand this on a deep level. And what was it like for you, when you were younger and when it came to the matters of the heart? Was this, were you a man that felt very confident growing up, or not so much? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, my story starts when I was in my, preteen, teenager years. I was not very confident.
Okay.
I created a story in my head that I was the nerdy, kind of geeky guy that women would never really be that attracted to. And from various television shows and movies, you would see the kinds of men who would get attention and the men that didn't get attention. And I associated myself with a lot of the types of men who didn't get attention, the nerdy characters, things like that.
Okay.
So it wasn't that I didn't like myself, but I didn't have enough self-esteem to be confident where I could be like, oh yeah, I could get, dates and have women be interested in me. It wasn't until my early 20s where I started to shift that thinking, and I discovered a lot of dating advice that was online at the time that was basically saying some of the things that I say now, that attraction when it comes to men is also very heavily personality based. It's how you act, it's your behavior. It's the behavioral traits. While women also do look at the physical side as well, that's important. But the behavioral traits have a very large effect. Didn't really know that. Didn't think about that. Didn't think that was a reality. So that flipped like a trigger in my head. It was like a big aha moment. I said, well, let's put this to the test. And so I would go out various nights a week trying to learn how to talk to women and flirt. And I started to get results very, very, very slowly. It wasn't like I went out night one and it was amazing. When I went out night one for 3 hours, I couldn't start.
Rico Suave, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, far from it. Far from it. It took me several months to get to that point. But then after going out, talking to women, I stopped fearing rejection. I stopped fearing what women thought of me. I became more stoic and less affected by the actions of others. And that made a powerful version of myself over months to years. And then learning how women responded. Like, how would a woman respond to me if I did this versus that versus this? How does she respond to me if I'm overly needy and showing lots of attention and lots of texting? versus chilling out a little bit on that and keeping a little bit more mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to see more results. But then there's the balance of you can't be too cool because then you're distancing yourself from them, and then they're not interested anymore.
You have to figure the gap. You're like, I gotta figure this. Where are we at here?
Yeah. So it's a balance. That's what I teach in my program.
Yeah.
But it's about being very proactive, assertive, and a leader in your dating life, with going and approaching women, talking to them, moving the interaction to dates. You're the one who's in control, very masculine qualities, but while still remaining not needy. I always say neediness is one of the most unattractive traits that a man can have behaviorally. So I learned all that through a lot of trial and error, and got to the point where I started to see results. And then I got into relationships, and then I got into, I'm married now, but I've been in like 5 to 6 long-term relationships.
Wow.
I don't know how many people can say that, but I did. I got married later in life. And so I have a lot of history of relationships and seeking out like who's a good fit and how do you find that? And what kind of women are good for me? And how do you find what's good for you? And yeah, my life has been one big experiment in the dating field for men specifically. And I've been sharing all of that over the past 15 years.
That's fantastic. And oh my goodness, you were so spot on, because I remember, back in the day, when I was single, and this is what I truly, genuinely saw. It's again, the men that actually were, I would be in the club, and the men that were actually had the strength, the courage to go ask a woman out to date. For the most part, they really won the girl. Because a lot of these guys, that the good looking ones or all those, they didn't come approach us. And I'm always like, wow, there is something, so sexy and so appealing to us women when it's more of a confidence, not the ones you're like, please, buddy, the ones that are insecure, but you could feel it. You can actually feel the difference with a man that they were just like, they're not going to take it personal, but they actually went out there. I would say 9 times out of 10, they were on that dance floor with the woman. I'm telling you, because women were like, oh, wow, you actually really asked me. Because there's a difference between a man just staring at a woman and looking at a woman, but the one that actually comes and approaches, that is really sexy to us women. Yeah. And I tell women all the time. And also remember, ladies, it takes courage. It really takes courage to come ask a woman to ask. And even if you don't want to, just really be kind, be respectful, be sweet, because, just for him to actually do that, that's what we actually want. Seriously. So that's really cool that you went through that experience and that you started putting yourself out there. And what were the things that you were, really learning about yourself and learning about women?
I want to say this real quick.
Yeah. Tell me.
You know those things called rope courses? You know what a rope course is?
Explain it.
So there are these rope courses where you're tied up in like a safety harness.
Okay.
But you're climbing ropes and climbing tall, like wooden beams.
Yes.
And then getting on top of those and like kind of jumping to ropes. But you're safe. So it's like fun, a little bit more adventurous. So I would say either that or skydiving or jumping into a cold shower, but more so the first two.
Okay.
That is what it feels like to approach a woman that you're attracted to. Wow. Being on a ropes course or skydiving or like anticipating going into a cold shower, that would be equivalent. I want women to understand that, because when you hear scared, it's hard to really understand like, oh, fear and what that means. But there's different types of fear. There's fear like, I think I'm about to get attacked by a stranger. That's a little bit different than I'm going to jump off of an airplane. Just different types of fear and anxiety.
Right.
But the closest would be those 3 examples. So women, if you ever want to know what it feels like for a man to come in and approach you, it's that physiological feeling in either one of those 3 examples. Like that's how bad it is if you ever want to know. But back to your question. You said, what are the things that I learned about myself?
Yeah.
What did I learn? I learned that I'm capable.
I love it.
That was the biggest thing. I built self-esteem. Self-esteem is built based upon keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So the more promises you make that you keep, the more you'll build your self-esteem. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week, and you go, even if the gym session wasn't that good, you're going to feel good because you made a promise and you did it. Say, I'm going to go and I'm going to approach 5 women today, and you do that, you get rejected 5 times, you're going to feel pretty good. If you get a number from one of those girls, you're going to feel amazing. Then your self-esteem's like through the roof because you accomplished something through the actions that you promised you're going to keep. So that's how a lot of self-esteem practically is built. And so I built that. I did a lot of hard work. And of course, the payoff really helps build the self-esteem. But just knowing that I was trying it, I was doing it, I was putting myself out there, I was jumping, into the cold shower or off the plane, so to speak. And it felt great that I know that I could do hard things, even though they were scary.
I love that. That is fantastic. And I know, Max, I want to keep you, but I know you have to get off. Usually, so before we even get off of this episode, I'm like, I'm here. We got so much more to ask you, Max, but that's okay. I get it. Can't have you here all day. And everyone tells me I'm not Joe Rogan, so I can't have 3-hour conversations, but that's okay. Here we go. So a couple things before we get off, if you don't mind. So first and foremost, how do we get into your world? Tell me, because I really believe with all my heart, ladies, if you're listening to this today and you're listening to Max, I mean, honestly, follow him, get into his world, get into his content, because it's really going to give you a different perspective of what men also are going through, what they're looking for. And it's going to be really valuable. It's really valuable stuff. We love his content. He has amazing content, you guys. But how do they get into your world? And also for our men listeners that are like, ooh, I got to work with Max. Please tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just want to kind of learn more, I'm on every social media under the name Tripp Advice. Tripp is a 2 P's. So Tripp is my nickname. Max is my actual legal name. So you can find Tripp Advice anywhere you consume content: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, etc. I do have a podcast as well. It's not under Tripp Advice. It is Tripp Advice, but the podcast is called How to Talk to Girls. That's going to be more for the men. Women won't find that as interesting. So if you love podcasts, How to Talk to Girls, it's on all the platforms: Spotify, Apple, etc. If you're a woman and you're intrigued, I actually do have female coaches on staff, and we do help women with dating, and we're damn good at it. If you're interested, DM me on Instagram, Tripp Advice, and just say, I found you on, Charlene's episode.
Yeah. It's a love story. It's Charlene Byars. So it's you ladies. So remember, just let them know that you listened to this episode, Love Stories with Charlene Byars podcast. And Max was one of our guests.
Yes. And we can help you and we can coach you. And if you're a guy and you're like, I don't need any more, content, I just want to get results, trippadvicecoaching.com.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
How is married life, Max? How long you been?
Oh, it's the best. When you find a great woman, it's the best.
Yes. How long you guys been together?
Almost 3 years.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I love it. And Max, let me see, before, I get you off of this episode, is there anything else that you want to say that maybe we didn't share?
That we didn't share? I don't think so. I think I said a lot that I wanted to share. I mean, I'll just reiterate one point is, if you're listening to this, you clearly care about getting into a relationship. Don't be afraid to shift your mindset just a little bit and be open-minded to another way of thinking so that you can actually get results.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, this has been amazing. You are awesome, my friend. Thank you so much for this conversation today. You guys literally get in his world. Get in his world. He has some really amazing content, and I think it can be really helpful. And today, we had a great conversation, but there's so much more. There's so much more here. But until next time, cheers to great love. Let's talk about the tip of the week, which is: don't confuse consistency with commitment. Just because a man shows up regularly, just because you're spending time together, doing life together, even living together, doesn't mean he's fully committed. Consistency is comforting, But commitment is covenant. It's all in. It's future focused. It's not about convenience. It's about covering. If he wants all the benefits of having you by his side, he should be willing to make you his wife, not just his roommate, not just his girlfriend, but his partner in covenant. So the tip of the week is simple but deep. Don't settle for presents. Wait for promise. And if you're married, this is your reminder. Covenant doesn't mean perfect. It means chosen. It means showing up with grace, humility, and honest communication. Covenant love is sacred. It's not, what can I get from you? It's, how can I serve this union? So whether you're waiting for it or working on it, remember, covenant love takes intention, not assumption. You have to build it, nurture it, and protect it every single day. That's a wrap. Thank you, Max, for such an awesome conversation. It was so powerful to really talk about our expectations, what we're really looking for, and how we can find great love with great men. All we need to do is learn how to get out of our own way and really be open to amazing men who will be committed, amazing, loving, and loyal husbands. More loyal, more committed, and more loving than the guy who we think we want. Wow. Thank you, Max. If you're loving this podcast and these incredible conversations, please hit the subscribe button and leave a 5-star review. Don't miss an episode because each week I'll be bringing on guests and experts who will share their knowledge about love, dating, and relationships so you can apply it into your own life. I'll see you next week. And until then, cheers to great love.